The needle that she placed in my forehead, the hamster wheel of the fear just stopped. I was diagnosed with chronic biliary cholangitis, which is an autoimmune disease in which the bile builds up in your liver and it destroys your liver. And there's no treatment. It's not very well studied or documented. Typically, people that are diagnosed are very late stage, so they're either failing or they need a transplant. I was referred to Stanford Liver Clinic. I was under the care of a doctor for about 2 years. I only saw him over Zoom. It was very distant and he was pretty disinterested. And so my general practitioner recommended that I start taking a salt because my liver enzymes were climbing and there was nothing that was really being done, and he was concerned that my health would degrade. So I was taking that, and then I was supposed to do a blood test, a blood panel every 2 months. It became a lot of friction because as he became more alarmed by my numbers climbing, his desperation made me feel more desperate. It was kind of a downward cycle. It was just medication, staying from alcohol, and that's it. There's nothing else that can be done. So the questions that the doctor would ask me is, are you jaundiced? Are you fatigued? You have greasy stools? It was all dramatic symptoms of basically liver failure. And unless that was happening, there was really nothing. I didn't need a threshold for other treatment, which would be other drugs and that kind of stuff. It was all experimental and kind of off-label because there's not a lot of documentation of it. Ursodiol. And it's not meant for that. It is an off-label use for that particular drug. What I was told is, it's very safe. It's just a salt derivative. Really didn't feel any difference when I was on it, but I started feeling very sluggish. I started getting more and more tired, and then I was having pain under my rib cage that wrapped around and that was going up my back, and it was very liver specific, and I knew that your body's trying to tell you something, and you need to address what the core issue is. That was what scared me enough to take matters into my own hands and find an alternate route. So I was recommended by my dentist, of all people, to come in, have a consult with Dr. Chi, and see what Chinese medicine had to offer, and assured me that it was much better than the experience I was getting in terms of care. I was very emotional and I was very scared when I came to see Dr. Chi, not because of needles, not because I was intimidated by this modality, but because I was dreading interaction with medical professionals that I had before, because it was very fear-based. And I was told, if you don't take this drug, you're going to die. If you don't do as we say, things aren't going to be okay. And I just dreaded it. I have 3 children and a husband, and I love being alive. And I'm just starting to be at a point in my life where I'm kind of coming into myself, and I wasn't prepared to just live a life that was going to be not joyful and not productive. And that's what I was being told, either directly or indirectly, with the attitude of the people that I was dealing with. When I came to see Dr. Chi, I cried. And a lot of it was kind of a release. And she was very attentive and very professional and very gentle. And the needle that she placed in my forehead, the hamster wheel of the fear just stopped. It was a place of peace. And having that very gentle, very powerful words of hope and we can do this. My instant gut reaction was just hanging on to that positivity because I was so open, and it was a very meaningful exchange that completely blew open the door. I went home to my husband and I'm like, we're all in. We're going to do this. That being said, detox is not easy. So I basically felt like I had a really bad flu coming on for a couple weeks because I was in a pretty bad state. And as the time progressed, I can feel my body humming and vibrating. And I knew that if I stuck with it, it was going to be much, much better. And it was dramatic from week to week. I was releasing a lot of mucus and coughing a lot. So I was really tired from that. But I didn't have the pain or that dull draining feeling, that subsided. I could feel that other parts of my body had been taxed. And so the energy was able to kind of flow into different areas. So rather than being so focused on this is hurting, it was more, okay, now we can do some kind of repair. My liver enzymes were in the high 200s. And when I got my test results back, they had gone down to like 28 and 32. They haven't been that low in years, maybe a decade. So for me, stopping the medication, eliminating sour foods, drinking warm fluids, those were the only changes that I made prior to having that liver test done. It was extraordinary. The experience is holistic and it's whole body. So one of the things that I admire so much about Dr. Chi is she's extraordinarily confident and doesn't oversell stuff, but she'll tell you things like, I have this scarring that actually came from a laser treatment for sun damage. And I was told, your skin's gonna lighten, but you're gonna have that forever. And she said, I can help with that. And I kind of didn't really I was like, oh, okay. And the strange thing is they dramatically change week from week. Like it was almost instantaneous. So yeah, the results are incredible. I mean, they're cosmetic, they're physical, they're spiritual in terms of feeling that you have hope and kind of reclaiming your body and your participation in health. Being lifted up by extraordinary doctors that are very much focused on making you feel better. That's extraordinary medicine. You can't really say painless because when you are moving energy around, you can feel it. That being said, when you have needles inserted in places where energy is stuck, it's just uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt. And then there may be days where you're more sensitive. It's not scary. It's definitely not painful. One thing I do want to caution, it's not a spa treatment. This is a place of healing and ultimately of wellness. It's a profoundly relaxing and nurturing environment, but this is a serious doctor's office. It's not a retreat. One of the things I think is really important is really partnering with Dr. Chi or whomever your practitioner is. You have to commit to doing 2 times a week. You have to be an active participant. If you're told avoid these foods, try these things, whatever protocol is designed for you, if you don't take ownership of becoming a partner in your own health, you will not see the results that are possible. It's an active participation. I really want to encourage people, give it a full cycle. You will love how you feel, not only when you're laying on the table after all the needles have been inserted, but afterward when you go home, the effects last for days afterward. Give it time. I think we're so used to immediate satisfaction and take a pill and, you have to reintegrate yourself into your body. And I think really trusting and partnering with the team to me, it's changed my life. It's extraordinary.